Hashtag Berlin Lives Matter. Berlin's life matters. Hey, you know I have the same name as a lady who's like an author and she writes about sex. I also have the same name as a European ghost who apparently haunts people because, and the story behind that is that she, her husband cheated on her, so she kills herself. Well done. And now she haunts everyone. You know who told me that? Alex.
Right, bro.
You know the even funniest, like the ghost name is Berlin Jean.
You realize this is on video?
It's okay. If you see this, sorry. Oh well. But the ghost name is Berlin Jean, and his mom's name is Jean. It's really funny. I'm like...
Maybe you're like the reincarnation.
I am!
I don't know who your husband is.
I'm not gonna have a husband. I'm gonna be a widow. Without...
No, it's a spinster.
No, I'm gonna be a... bear.
Well, in order to be a widow, you have to have
I
had
confuse myself.
Right.
Are you guys gonna speak in or are you planning on?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, a Builder's protein bar? Can I have some? Is everyone ready?
Elaine, should I do it?
I'm not gonna do it. Never mind then. Don't look at my case. I'm not
Might as well do it. Don't run anything slow because I don't want to pick up my Google pad.
But it's actually.
It's not like they know how to run it. I keep telling you.
Oh,
Do. I mean, like,
Not very well.
excuse you.
In our...
You know what, Lil?
Hi, Claire.
I don't know how to run it well either.
I don't know. I'm just gonna run it so you guys can practice. So it's time. So is everyone ready?
Wait, how do you
Start flowing.
Do you need a brief?
I will tell you. Just go.
So the first affirmative speaker, Charlene Kern, today's resolution that the U.S. should ban all gun sales effective immediately. So, brief roadmap. I'll be going over our plan text definitions and moving on to our case. So we define, so our plan text is as follows: the U.S. will ban all gun sales and inflict a government buyback program in which they will buy back all guns or buy back guns from the common people who have guns to encourage. Okay. And to encourage this stuff, and I should have researched this. Anyway, so we define gun sales as the sale of guns and firearms, effective immediately as soon as possible. Ban to stop the U.S., the United States of America. Any questions?
What's your funding for this plan?
Funding will give you a lot of ways and means, young Christie. Thank you. Okay. So anyway, moving on to advantages to our plan. So our first advantage is that of change. So we need change. Clearly in the status quo, there needs to be some kind of change that's going on. Or we need some kind of change. The status quo is inherently bad, and states with higher, can be seen through, states with higher per capita gun ownerships have far higher levels of gun homicide than those who don't. So you can clearly see that states that allow guns, or states that are more lenient towards the sale of guns, and have higher populations of people who own guns, there's like a direct correlation between the amount of guns people in their states own and the amount of homicides that happen. So, and that's bad, okay? Also, so in the bottom 5 states that have, or in the bottom 5 states in terms of people who own guns, there are 3 to 5 deaths per 100,000 people, compared to the top 5, in which there's 17 to 20 gun deaths per 100,000 people. So you can clearly see that there's a huge, there's a correlation between these two things, and a huge difference between states with less guns and states with more guns. Also, more than 60% of attackers were not prohibited from possessing guns. However, with our plan, this study also said that there's less likelihood of mass killings in states that require background checks for all handgun sales than in states that don't. Oh shit, it's okay. Less likelihood of mass killings in states that require background checks for all handgun sales than in states that do not. So you can see that in states where they have some sort of gun regulation, there's less chance of mass killing than those who don't. Additionally, more than 60% of attackers, like I said, my statistic, more than 60% of attackers were not prohibited from possessing guns. Therefore, they legally were allowed to get these guns, which means that we need to do something in the status quo to stop this. Even if there's going to be some sort of black market, in the status quo, we're not doing any. There could be a chance of a black market or something that could happen. We need to do something about this problem because if we let it go, it's just going to get out of hand because, there have been more mass shootings than there have been days or in a year, and that's terrible. We need to fix that. Yay. Second advantage, suicide. So, uniqueness. Wow. Anyway, in 2010, 19,329 people committed suicide with guns versus the 11,078 people killed by others. This is according to a Harvard study. So essentially, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death. And firearm-related deaths are a huge portion of these suicides. And more than half of these cases, people used firearms. So you can firearms. So with these lenient gun laws, without the gun laws and gun control in America, we can see that with the availability of guns, 1 in 3 American households have guns. So with the availability of guns, it provides a lethal and accessible way for people to commit suicide. And 85% of these deaths, or 85% of these suicide attempts, are lethal. So compared to the main cause of suicide, which is overdose, only 3% of the overdose is actually lethal, which means only 3% of people who try to commit suicide with pills actually die. So what you can see here is that guns are an irreversible method to commit suicide, and a lot of people use guns in status quo for suicide, and also with the huge amount of people who do have guns, it's really bad. Yeah. Okay, moving on to our third advantage of our plan. So for the buyback program, we're going to see that a lot more people will be more incentivized to sell their guns back to the government versus to get money versus, I don't know, keeping them illegally, and that would not be good because with more guns we can see problems. But if we give the people an incentive to if we give people an incentive to get, to leave their guns behind, give them to the government with money, that's great, because then we're going to see less guns. And this happened in Argentina before. So this isn't some sort of radicalized notion. It's happened, and it's worked in other countries. Additionally, guns are terrible and they kill people, so vote aye. Sorry.
It's a lot different.
Is it longer than this? I read big. It's really big.
How many?
It's like,
Oh, wow.
So, as a brief off-time roadmap, I'll be going into the topicality regarding.
Build my bar!
Hold on.
No,
Elaine, come here. I'll help you.
I need paper. Regarding
Wait,
there.
this is my retainer. It's just gonna sit
I'm
here.
still not sure if I'm actually gonna run this.
No, it's okay. Run it. I'm giving you terrible.
Okay, I'm just gonna run a topicality.
It was a terrible plan anyway.
Go over the framework in case you don't buy our topicality. Then go over, then refute their contentions, then go on to the next case. Okay. Is the judge ready? Judges ready?
Yes.
Next team? Okay, next
I'm
team.
writing out your responses for you.
Okay. So, time starts now at the first. Oh, wait. Can you start that over? Time starts now. As the first speaker of the negation team, I strongly negate today's resolution. The U.S. should ban all gun sales effective immediately. Just wanted to point out that the AF team never mentioned criterion for this debate. So
Does it matter?
judge does matter because the judge should know how to should be given the weighing mechanism for the round. So as the AF team failed to do their job, we're going to be doing it for them, and we define today's criterion as not benefits the overall amount of good for the overall amount of people. Okay, so topicality. So the AF team, what they did wrong, they failed to stick to the resolution. The AF team's job is to stick to the resolution. However, they were extra topical in providing this government buyback program, as this is not part of the resolution, or it's not within their grounds. And technically, all material other than the resolution belongs to the NEG team. And why? Okay, so this is bad because it skews time from the NEG team. Because how are we supposed to anticipate something that they weren't supposed to do? And also, framers' intent. The person who wrote this resolution was probably intending for us to talk about what they wrote, not anything extra topical. So, yeah. So this is a priority judge. So this should be valid before the round. Their theory flaws should be valid before the round. Okay. So judge, even if you don't buy a topicality, I'm just going to go over their framework now and show how it clearly is not effective. Okay. So their funding was normal ways and means. If the government is instituting a buyback program, that means they have to have money to buy back the guns. American tax dollars are not going to be able to buy back the guns, and the money set aside in our deficit spending thing for the American firearms, it's used to regulate guns. So, and here's another thing. What if people don't want to give up their guns? Like, okay, so currently in the status quo, according to the Pew Research Center, 270 million to 310 million guns exist in the USA. Not everyone wants to go. That's approximately one gun per person, but since everybody doesn't own a gun, there are clearly people who own 2 or more guns. But what we see here is that there's people who will not want to give up their guns. So how are they going to get the guns from people who just don't want to give them up? Are they going to force it? They never clarified this, and clearly it makes no sense because some people want to keep their guns. So they're going to have a hard time trying to figure that one out. Okay, so they also talked about, so then they talked about funding, normal ways and means. They need money to buy back the guns, and guns are, like, even the common firearm costs around $100. So you can multiply that by 310 million guns, and that's how much money you're going to need to, so it's a lot of money to buy back all these guns, and so their funding is not going to qualify for their plan, even if, in case you don't buy a topicality. So what the AF team basically came up here and spoke about, their contentions are basically how there's a lot of gun-related deaths, which is true. There are gun-related deaths in the status quo. However, banning all gun sales effective immediately is not going to be the solution, because what you see here is what's really bad is people think they're in a safer environment once you ban the sale of guns. However, the fact is, as we have shown, the guns still exist. You're still going to see gun-related deaths. You're still going to see problems from guns because the guns are still there in the status quo. And what's even worse is you're going to see this, you're going to give this mentality for people that you're going to have this safer mentality for common day citizens who have nothing to do with this gun violence. And when you have this safer mentality, people think all of a sudden their whole world is safer, but it's not. The guns are still there, even if you ban the sales, the guns still exist in the status quo. So the AF team isn't solving anything, because, and in fact, they're making it worse because they're providing a safer mentality and providing the illusion that there's going to be no more gun deaths, which there are, because the guns are still there in the status quo. Yes?
So are you saying a positive mindset is bad?
I'm saying, what I'm saying is that having an illusion of safety when there clearly is not is bad, because you're going to see negative impacts. It's just people not being more wary. Okay, so now going on to and then they briefly mentioned Argentina, like for 1 second. First of all, Argentina and the USA, there's been guns since like the founding. In Argentina, they should have gone more into that. The AF team should have gone more into that. Like seriously. Okay, yeah. So going on to the NEG team's case. Okay, so don't know. Okay, so our first contention is that backlash. Okay, so what we see here is 1 in 3 Americans own guns, and even though they're 270 million guns, 310 exist. So what it really shows is that if one person has a gun, they're more likely to already have one, or they're more likely to buy another. So if someone automatically finds out that the next day that he or she cannot buy the gun they want, even though it may be for safety purposes, that person's going to be mad. And if 1 in 3 Americans own guns, you're going to see 33.3% of our population being mad. And this is going to backlash against the government and the people who instituted this law, because you're going to see people out in the streets maybe protesting. You're going to see divisions in our government, which are already there, Republicans against Democrats. There's already problems in the government. It's just going to get worse with this new law. And you're going to see this huge backlash over this law, which isn't really even solving for anything, because the guns still exist in the status quo. Okay. So, and this is bad because it's going to affect the common day citizens if their government is busy arguing over this law, and if the government is even more divided, which it already is in the status quo. So it's really hurting everyone in America. Okay, so second, and there could also be an escalation of tension. So second contention is that prohibition does not work. We've already seen it in historical context, that of alcohol, that if people want something, they always find a way to get it, aka the black market, okay?
Yes.
So if gun sales are banned, people are just going to find a way to get guns. And actually, according to the Bureau of Justice, 79% of gun-related crimes were actually used by guns illegally bought, aka the black market. So you see, a black market already exists for 2-second grace period, and it's just going to even increase if it's already there. And this is bad because we're going to see guns that aren't even regulated because the government think they solved the problem when they didn't. So for all these reasons, I strongly negate today's resolution that the U.S. should ban all gun sales effective immediately. Okay.
We're going on time.
But I was like, the topicality took up time. Okay, if you can read my notes.
Have you seen my handwriting? I think I can read yours.
Yeah.
We'll do fine.
Elaine, go.
Oh, yeah.
You have your counter.
Technically, you don't even know my style. I just have to read it right here what they say.
Wait, what?
So I can just go on new solvency.
I didn't say
I love
defaulting.
this no solvency idea.
I don't know what I'm running, but I'm gonna run it anyway.
Just say some BS about why you should prefer your interpretation. What?
Wait, give me like.
I gave her like some not it was kind of sketchy.
Oh, well, it wasn't. I just copied what you wrote onto her paper.
Okay, when I wrote counter-interpretation, I wrote the definition of a counter-interpretation.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah. Did you write just the definition for Elaine, or did you
I
give
wrote
her
the
one?
definition.
I wrote the definition because I couldn't think of a counter-interpretation. And I was going to think of one later, and then I forgot.
How will you give her one now? I don't know how to interpret stuff.
Oh, child.
Ban all.
How will you just go?
Can I address it last?
No.
No!
Take priority.
You have to talk about this.
Okay,
whatever.
As a member of the negation,
Affirmative.
I strongly affirm.
Lily, can I start trying to give them
Today's
time to pass
resolution
on
that
taking time
the
from
U.S.
this
should
time?
ban all
Do they do
gun
that in
sales
varsity or like
effective
higher level?
immediately.
They don't. Do they allow it?
In this speech, I'll be going over theory, and then on case, and then off case. So there was a topicality to our plan, and they said that we failed to stick to the resolution and other stuff. So counter interpretations.
Just one.
One.
Just one
Okay,
counter-interpretation.
so the affirmative team interpreted this resolution because as a resolution that argues to lessen gun violence and save lives. And I don't know how to do this. Counter standards. Just one policy will be passed at once.
Oh
God. Okay, you know what? I'll just go on to the case.
I was gonna
This
write
is a
more
waste of
stuff,
time.
but then
Okay,
I forgot.
so-
No, read mine. No.
No, you need to prove that there's no demonstrated abuse.
Oh, we didn't do any abuse because, saving lives. Encouraging.
They ran half their entire case. They didn't lose access to anything.
Yeah.
What?
No, they didn't demonstrate abuse because the neg team did not have something that they could no longer run.
Okay. Yeah, there's no abuse because the neg couldn't have it. Is that it?
No, but go on.
Real world education, best policy possible. Not just one policy will pass at once. I'm just gonna
Oh my
move
god,
on.
Elaine, I wrote more.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Real world applications are preserving more education by making the best possible policy, which we interpreted as lessening gun violence, I guess. So, now that we have 4 minutes left, we should prefer AF standards because we create more education by broadening the scope of the debate. The debate is inherently unfair. Who cares? Also, there's no demonstrated abuse of accuracy to be seen by any of the ground. Voters, this is a priority because
Whatever.
So, our first contention was that of change because the status quo is bad and gun violence correlates with the amount of gun ownership and gun sales. And 60% of the attackers in mass shootings this year were not prohibited from owning guns. So, they refuted this by saying banning all gun sales won't be effective and people think they're safer. And there are still guns and still deaths. And it gives people a safer mentality, which is bad because they think they're safer. And they're really not. Okay, so in response to their point that people think they're safer, people aren't that stupid, and they're not just gonna think that the world, well, first of all, we're not forcing people to take their, wait, what? First of all, what? First, let's see. We're just ending gun sales. There's still going to be the same amount of guns as there are right now. People right now still go outside and mostly think they're safe, I guess, with police and stuff. Yeah, people aren't that stupid. They'll still recognize that there's still guns outside and be cautious when they're around them. And also, they said that there's still guns and still deaths, but in the long term, there's going to be less guns and less deaths because they'll stop being sold and manufactured and imported, which means what? Long-term impacts. Yay. If we're not going to do anything later, why not do it now? What?
Are you changing your plan by saying
No.
Okay, can I ask you to have another
Yes.
So are you still sticking with your counter plan of a government?
It's not a counter plan.
Sorry,
You're
sorry. Are you still sticking with your plan?
Gun sales.
Wait, are you still sticking with your plan of government buyback program? Are you still sticking with that?
Well, we can't change it, so might as well.
Separate is good.
We told you. Education of the
Separate's
debate.
good. Separate, guys.
What?
How was Separate out of the buyback program?
They dropped our entire second contention about suicide. And
Okay, then say we're changing your
They're
plan.
ignoring all
dropping
the
the buyback program. No, say we're changing your plan. We're dropping the buyback program.
we're dropping the buyback program and
No.
Okay, so they dropped our entire point of suicide, which means that they're like disregarding these 19,000 Okay, their case. Backlash. People likely to have guns by another. Okay, they said that people will be bad, but lives matter more than backlash. The role of government is to protect the people, and in order to do that, we need to ban guns, as you stated. And we need to think long term too, as well, which the government. Keep talking. Long term, which. Okay, we need to think long term because if they're not going to do anything now, or at least try to put any more gun enforcement at all, the status quo is just going to keep happening, and there's going to be mass shootings equivalent to the number of days this year, and I don't know how to debate anymore, and we're not doing the buyback program anymore, and government can drop out of plans and kick out bad plans, and this is what they do in real life, I think. So, the second point was about the black market, and guns are illegally, and a lot of guns are illegally sold, but more than 60% of the attackers who did the mass shootings in this year had the legal right to own guns, which means that we need to ban all guns. Because
powerful.
ban guns, buyback. Okay.
No,
This is cool. You're silent.
This is I need to practice.
play.
We have a lot to get through.
Or it's like lay. It's like lay. It's like lay with a small ass.
It's like
Play.
tiny
Yeah,
debater
play.
trying to do theory.
That's like me in every debate, though.
But
I wanna
debating
just jump
theory
out of
is
that
good,
building.
'cause then, like,
Out of this building. That window's open. It's coming.
Don't jump. Don't jump. Suicide by jumping out the window. Hey. Meilinda, go.
We love to have the gun warrior guns.
Okay, so this will be fun to learn about.
Crush their
We had a bunch of really good
I'm going
reputations.
off case, then on case.
Why didn't you say that?
Give them to Perlin. It's okay, Elaine. Okay. Don't worry about it. Perlin, you use them.
What? Okay.
A really good reputation.
They're not really.
Meilinda, go.
Okay, so time starts now.
Happen to be
Okay,
given to
so-
me all these.
First of all,
Wait,
Where the heck am I?
start the topic out. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, but I forgot where my notes are. Nice going, me.
I think we can figure something out.
Oh god.
So many arrows.
Okay, so about the topic. So first of found my notes. Oh yeah, so technically they're check on my notes.
So just talk about it for you.
Okay, so first of all, they're starting to drop their point about there's some just
We did not drop your tea. Drop it.
No,
Not that.
refuse
No.
I'm
It's
so
okay.
confused.
If you want to stop your time and start over once
Yes.
you find your stuff.
Yes.
I am confused. It's a Monday.
Understand. Okay.
Me every day.
Do you want me to give you a rundown?
No, I have it. It's just like, where did I put it? It like disappeared. What even?
Check your top.
Ah.
Oh, do you want me to just give it to you?
No, I have it. It's been a while. Here.
Okay, dude, just let me give it to you.
I care.
Okay, let me give it to you.
You know what?
I don't like you. This is
Gross.
demonstration.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so
That was demonstrated.
I got it. Finally.
Okay.
So time starts now. So first of all, about the topicality, so they're saying that our topicality is false because we're still able to run everything and nothing's like sort of abusive. And actually it is abusive because of the favor's intent.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. This doesn't because of the time skip, favor's intent, and yeah, favor's intent is time skip. So we didn't. Sorry, okay. Because and the favor's intent never specifies. Oh, keep going. Ow. The favor's intent. We started going outside of it, and they're going outside of the resolution and how it should be interpreted. And yeah, with time skew, same thing because of their frames, because of the lack of
Because of the.
Just go with it.
Because of
Because of the famous intent being ignored somewhat. So
Oh,
that causes
right.
time skew. Because we didn't know that they were going to win that, so we blame
These two. The other
Sand.
things.
Take all of your
What?
Wait,
just kidding.
Okay,
Don't laugh at Elaine.
Please
So
laugh.
they started
Everyone, stop laughing.
They started contradicting.
No!
I'm so confused.
Elaine!
The point is, they started contradicting.
Don't laugh at her.
They
She's
started
doing the
contradicting
right thing by coming to practice.
Started contradicting themselves. The people are that stupid. Are you okay?
Time.
Sometime there's been a dash.
And
Are you okay?
I don't know what
Come on, Elaine. You're doing a very good job.
Are you guys are?
That was a good question. It was just at the wrong time. It was a really good question, though. Just like half a second later. We're doing better.
She answered. I'm done.
No! Stay! Stay! Come back!
I will.
No, not like
Time
stay.
skew. Famous intent. Because of the famous intent time skew. No, but
Because of the
There
framework
are
time skew. Wait, I have a question about that.
That's very well.
May,
You need to very well
how you're skewed out of the round.
I know.
I know.
Like,
You
specific
can't.
time.
What we gotta say is that
Hey,
there's
Nick.
extra time in work with the
Josh!
They changed their plan.
How did you learn
No,
the
dude,
first
Dude, at the end of their speech,
I'm
they
not gonna
changed
compare
their
people.
plan
I'm
to
going
agree
to
with their topicality. Even more of a time skew.
Yeah,
Totally
and then that means that's
unfair.
contradicting.
Alright,
Yeah,
everyone's
exactly.
back.
They agree with their
I'm sorry.
topicality.
I'm sorry.
Let's continue time. Elaine,
Nice.
sit in your chair. Perlin, are you flowing?
I am.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah,
You have 5 minutes left.
I'll just continue from where I was. Okay. So, they started contradicting themselves about that people aren't that stupid and about about that part. So, the main problem about just suddenly ending the gun sales, like, that really is the problem, that we're just going to suddenly end the gun sales because we're, wait, you know what? I'll get back to it, never mind. So,
Oh shit, I do.
So, they technically, by saying that people aren't that stupid and we're just ending those gun sales, and that will do good, they're sort of, but no. By saying that people aren't that stupid, there's someone agreeing to, that, there's someone agreeing that their plan has no solvency and that it,
Our plan has no solvency! Exclamation point.
oh shoot. You know,
Madness. I'm just.
Long-term impact.
Meilinda. Trash their plan.
you know what, I'll just go on case now. I'll just go on case.
It's my plan too.
Okay, so on case about our first contention about the backlash. So they're saying that there will be less fighting if we get rid of these guns by stopping the sales. So actually, because of a backlash that will happen, there will be more fighting over the backlash. Because people will be upset and all that stuff. Demonstrations, protests, and more division of the government. There already are division in the governments. There is already division in the government. I know, I'm confused also. Yes. And
Exclamation point.
I'm going home.
Bye, Danny. No one likes you. You're the worst day ever.
Let's continue.
I drop you from my life.
Keep going.
Severance bad.
Oh shoot.
so I'll expand on
You know William found your ass.
Wait.
Fuck.
reason why he'd know mine is he knew yours.
Go, Davey, shut up.
I'll talk about the prohibition.
Literally, shut up.
So, as we were talking, as my partner was talking about, so by just
Cry! Cry!
so,
Cry!
We're gonna have to censor.
Be in pain!
should I just continue?
Just go for it, Meilinda.
So by suddenly ending these gun sales, it will actually cause a bigger problem because people will try to get what they want still, because if there's still a demand, then people are still going to try to find a way to get it, and which therefore makes their plan of just suddenly ending the gun sales having no solvency. Oh yeah. You have the warrants. Warrants.
The warrants are prohibition. Prohibition is different because prohibition
That's black market.
It's not a question.
Forbes says black market.
We use Forbes. We use Forbes for a black market point, okay?
What?
We use Forbes.
I don't need you to spell it. I'm just saying what's out. I'm just speaking my thoughts. I'm not asking a question. Keep talking.
It's a mess. Okay, so about the black market again. So if there is a demand for something, people will find a way to get it. For example, prohibition. Alcohol is prohibited. People still found ways to get alcohol, which is illegal. And same with the problem with drugs. For example, in California, marijuana is illegal, but because there's a demand for it, people still find a way to black market it and smuggle it in and somehow obtain it. I know I do.
Mom, are you knocking? Are you done?
No.
No, I'm agreeing with
I'm
that.
like trying to read sideways.
I don't want to be compared to that blanket monster.
So yeah, the black market is
Meredith and Meredith are actually extremely similar.
So the black market's a bad thing.
Uncanny.
And prohibition, for example, it's a really good prohibition of anything. Alcohol, and for example, trying to make drugs illegal is not really working because yes, some people follow the rules, but of course there's people who try to smell things in because they want it, so they're gonna find a way. Yeah, I said marijuana a while ago. So yeah, by just suddenly ending the gun sales is causing like this mentality that's giving the common people a safe mentality, even though technically they're not really safe because the guns don't disappear anywhere; they're still there. Yeah.
Yeah, Meilinda.
That was terrible.
That was not terrible.
That was quite good.
That was better considering under the circumstances you were in. Like, we had some swearing going on here. We had some people.
I spilled the water. I spilled the water.
I go ahead and talk.
You don't have to
It's on my
skirt.
It's okay.
Go for
But
it.
the guy, hold on, the guy who sits next to me, Dan, he thinks food, right? So what?
Do you sit next to Ben?
Yes! Ben flew peas on me all the time. It's disgusting. I'm just like, dude, I have a puddle on my skirt. I have a puddle.
Elaine, shush. First go.
That is cool.
Elaine, are you leaving?
No, you're not.
Okay. So as a brief off-time roundup, I'm just gonna kind of expand on the topicality because it should be taken into consideration.
Elaine, shut up.
Then I'm gonna go over to voter issues.
Shut up.
The clear reason why the neg team has won the debate. Okay. Wait.
Continue, Christie.
Okay, so time. I'm not. Okay, time starts now. Strongly for today's resolution. Negate today's resolution. The U.S. should ban all gun sales effective immediately. Okay. So we brought up this topicality against the AFT. What did they do in their second speech? They completely brought up this new plan and dropped their government buyback program, which means they agreed with their topicality judge. They agreed that there was a whole neck time skew. They agreed with all our reasons, and therefore, Judge, you should consider this when you're weighing today's round, because as we stated, this was a priori issue, and this comes before the round. And yeah, it's a total of 10, it's a total waste of time. Okay, I've gone over this, so going on, okay. So the whole app, in like a two-world comparison, what the app team brought to light was gun-related deaths and how they're going to be saving people's lives by having these guns limited. However, what they failed to acknowledge is that people still want their guns, and guns are already in the status quo. So whether you buy them back or whether you don't, or whether you just stop all sales, they still are in the status quo, and people already have these guns. There's still going to be these deaths, and therefore their impact of saving lives, Judge, their impact of saving lives does not even stand because guns are still in the status quo, and there's still people can find a way to get their hands on guns. Okay, so also, so by the way, what was I going to say? Okay. So going on to our first contention, which is that of our vote. Okay, yeah, their impacts don't stand. They have no solvency. What's even worse about their plan is that they're creating this safer mentality. Of people think they're safe when they're not. People think there's no guns, therefore their lives are going to be safe. They're going to be less wary and cautious. No, the guns are still there, and they're creating a safer environment when it's not really the safe environment, and this can lead to more deaths and more harm because people think they're actually safe when they're not. Okay, so now going on to voter issues. Okay, so we brought up the fact about this backlash, and so our impacts on what we have is more government division, and there can be violence from this backlash. Okay, government division is bad for all of us because the government is already divided. Therefore, they're ineffective when they're trying to make anything work in government, and it's just going to get worse with Republicans arguing with Democrats, and it's not really effective. We're hurting the people who depend on the government's effectiveness for their lives to be in normal order. And yeah, no, I brought up government division, so not really. Okay, so yeah, government division is bad. We have that impact. We won on this. They never refuted this impact. They dropped. I think they dropped it. Whatever it is, Judge, we have this impact. Okay, yeah. So we also have more tensions because of people wanting their guns. Because people are more likely to buy a gun if they already have one. So if they find out that they can't buy one, they're gonna get really mad, and we can see protests and more violence. So yeah. Our second contention is that of prohibition, aka black markets. Okay, so when people want something, they're gonna find a way to get it, and we brought up examples from like marijuana and like alcohol. So the truth is, you can ban something all you want, but it's still gonna be there, and people are still gonna find ways to get it. And the black market in America, it already exists, as the Bureau of Justice survey stated that 79% of gun-related crimes were used with guns bought on the black market. So as we can clearly see that this number is just going to go up once we ban the sales, because the people who may have legitimately bought one before, they're going to just find ways to get their guns some other ways. And this is even worse because now there's no regulations on this. So yeah, black markets are bad because, again, we have the whole point is that we're trying to be able to solve for a problem. However, the AF team and this resolution itself has no solvency because we think we're solving a problem or not, because they're actually, and it's even worse because they're creating this so-called safer environment and leading people to think that their lives are now much more safer when they're not, because there's things like black markets, and the fact is like 270 to 310 million guns exist in America, and that's almost one gun per person. So we agree guns are bad, but they have the solvency, and we have on our side government division, the safer mentality, which leads to more harm, and we have more escalation of tensions. Oh yeah, so for all these reasons, I strongly negate today's resolution, and I strongly urge the judge to vote negative today's resolution. The U.S. should ban all gun sales collectively. Okay. That was a bit.
Oh my god. Okay. Elaine, how about you untie the sweatshirt for us? She can't do it herself.
It's off.
Are you okay?
Really?
Wait,
Can we get debate merchandise. Every school has debate merchandise. Washington High School had those pins. I know they actually.
You know, in order to have debate merchandise, we need to have someone to actually make it. So I suggest you make it yourself.
Okay, Perlin, come on.
Hello, that's me.
I think I actually need to go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wait. Quick question, Elaine. Ben is a sophomore?
No, he's a freshman.
Oh, how do you? Oh, Elaine. Wait, Emily told me about him.
He went to my middle
5,
Oh,
4,
nice.
My little
3,
twin was in middle school.
2. Where's your paper?
What school did he go to?
I couldn't write, so I typed. Sorry.
I went to Milpitas Christian School over the summer.
You went to M. Oh, wait, no.
5, 4,
Okay,
3, 2,
that's
1, go! Your time starts now.
As a member of the
Shut up! Shut the heck up. Okay. As the final speaker of the affirmative team, I solemnly affirm today's resolution that the U.S. will ban all gun sales effective immediately. So, as a brief all-time roadmap, I'll be addressing the topicality, then moving on to our voter issue. Our singular voter issue. Okay. I'm just kidding. Or, no. So, their only thing for T, or their main thing for T is that of framers and time skew. So, essentially, oh shit. Ow. Okay. So this isn't, so for framers intent, we already, my partner provided our counter interpretation in which the framer obviously wanted, or the person who wrote this resolution obviously wanted us to debate on something that talked about, the banning of guns as well as lives and stuff like that. And like lives saved. And we're clearly debating on that. So, and so is the negation team. Additionally, this isn't skewing their time because we haven't really taken away neg ground in any way, shape, or form. Because like my partner stated, and like as my partner stated, there isn't any sign of abuse that has been shown from our quote-unquote abusive plan. They didn't have any counter plan or any of their points that directly that had anything from our case. So this isn't necessarily like skewing their time, or this isn't skewing the prep time at all. We're not being abusive to their case because their case did not have any sign of abuse. So anyway, we're not skewing that ground. Also, you should vote for us on the T because we're providing real world applications with our plan. Because like in the real world, they're like the government has multiple policies and they can drop out of policies at any time. They also want, in order to provide the best possible policy, and by giving we have the best plan. So yeah. But if you don't buy that, buy our one voter issue that I'm going to be talking to you about right now, which is that of suicide prevention, which the affirmative team or negation team completely dropped in their case. So you need to assume that this is fact. So by them assuming that this is fact, we're going to say, by them dropping this and saying that this is fact, we're going to see that the affirmative team's plan or the affirmative team is going to solve for suicide or suicides by guns. And this is a clearly unique impact that the negation team doesn't have. Additionally, we're also saving lives. So we not only have the lives, we're saving lives. Yeah, and this is cool. Saving lives is really great, you know. Explain. So we're doing something to solve a clear issue, and because they dropped it, we have to assume that it's a fact that we are solving this issue. Additionally, the negation team hasn't provided anything that they're uniquely solving, because they're arguing for the status quo. The only thing they're doing is criticizing the affirmative team. So they're essentially arguing for the status quo. And in the status quo, we can see that there are a lot of suicides that are happening because of guns. And that's bad. What the affirmative team is doing is that we're solving for suicide because we're seeing that if there's still guns, there's still going to be people killing themselves with these guns. They completely dropped this, and therefore, my mom is calling me. Hi, Mom. She hung up on me. Okay, there's still going to be people killing themselves with guns. With the banning of guns, we're going to see less house. Mom! Hello? I'm in a round right now. lives lost. Okay, so the suicide suicide by guns is an irreversible issue, and we're taking away from this. Or this is an irreversible solution to a temporary problem, and we're solving for this because it's going to mean there's going to be less suicides by guns. And this is huge because there's going to be a huge amount of people who aren't going to commit suicide by guns, which means less people are going to commit suicide. More lives saved. We're solving things. Vote. Woo.
That debate, though.
Thanks.
Any feedback?
No. Yes, I do have feedback.
Please give feedback.
I will.
Yeah, I have 10 minutes.
Yeah.